let's dive into this idea of confidence and where it comes from. Now, I don't know about you, but I know a lot of people tend to think that confidence is a personality style. Certain people are born with this gene, certain people are not. For some people, it comes easy. For some people, it's really hard. And a lot of times we feel like maybe it's situational based. Like, oh, I can be confident in these situations, but I can't in these. And sometimes, man, my fear just takes over. I hear you. I know it's really tempting to feel that way. That's why today I want to give you 3 very practical things that you can know and do that are going to help you build real, authentic, unshakable confidence. Are you ready? If you're taking notes, this is going to be fun. Y'all know I love a good list because it helps you put this into practice. Number 1, the first place that confidence comes from is your faith. Now let's talk about what that means. Sure, it sounds nice to be a good Christian, believe that God is who he says he is, and he can do what he can say he can do. But what does that look like in a practical way? Well, when we look to our faith as the foundation of our confidence, it changes everything about how we see our world, how we see situations, and even how we see ourselves. Because see, when you know who you are, when you know whose you are, it changes everything about your sense of confidence. You know, God has a lot to say about you in his word, in the Bible, his love letter to you. He says some amazing things about you. He says that you are loved, you were created, you are chosen. His plans for you are good. He delights over you with singing. When you read these words about you from the God of the universe that created you, y'all, it gives you all the reason in the world to have incredible confidence. You don't have to look at your abilities or inabilities, your insecurities, your fears, your doubts, all the flaws that you feel like you have, because you remind yourself of what God says about you. I love how my friend Annie F. Down says, the more I get to know God, the more sure I am of me. See, here's what's so interesting. When we stare at ourselves, we tend to get overwhelmed by all the things we're lacking, right? That leads to insecurity and doubt, and I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough skill, enough talent, enough looks, enough charm, enough resources. We look at all of the things we're lacking. But when we look to God, when we focus on him and what he says about us, it changes everything about how we see ourselves. It changes our entire perspective. It's amazing how it also gives us the ability to withstand people's opinions of us, criticism, maybe some haters or complainers or people on social media that are mean to you. It helps you fight against that inner critic in your own mind, that voice of doubt that creeps up that says you're failing as a mom, you're not doing good at your job, you should be doing more, that's all you got done, you didn't get through your to-do list, your business isn't a really good idea, no one's gonna like that product. That inner critic, that voice of fear that creeps up, when you remind yourself of who God is and how he talks to you and what he says about you, it helps you cut through the lies in your own mind and see the truth of who you are in him. It's amazing too, because as we look to our faith and lean on our faith for our source of confidence, it also puts everything else into perspective. You and I, we actually don't need to be the hero and save the day all the time. We have the confidence to say no when something's not right for us. We have the confidence to set a boundary where we need to. We have the confidence to protect our time, our life, our money, our relationships, because we realize there is a God and it's not you or me. Isn't that great? Believe it or not, the world will go on if you take a break, if you take a day off, if you take a nap. That takes confidence to rest and protect your time and say no and set boundaries. But when you realize there is a God and it's not you, it takes the pressure off when you realize the weight of the world is not on your shoulders and it was never supposed to be on your shoulders. I love how God even talks about confidence in his word to us. Hebrews 10:35 says, so do not throw away your confidence, for it will be richly rewarded. I love this reminder that our faith is the truest source of confidence in our life. When we know who we are in God, when we realize that he is on his throne, he is in control, he created us, he loves us, he is good, he is for us, then it gives you a peace and contentment and confidence that can't come from any other way. It helps you remember when your situation is scary, when it feels like life has thrown you a curveball, you have the confidence to know that God is in control. He is never in heaven wringing his hands thinking, never saw this coming. I didn't know this was gonna play out like this. I didn't know that was gonna happen. That never happens. Do you know that God is never surprised? He is never late. He is always on time. He is always in control, and he is always good. Y'all, those are truths you can build your life on, and they are truths that give you a source of confidence unlike any other. So the first and best place to get your confidence is from your faith. But just because you have faith and just because you know God is good and he's in control doesn't mean you're always gonna feel confident, right? You're still gonna get scared. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, you're not a good Christian. It just means you're human. And so what do you do then? What do you do when your feelings don't match the information you have in your head? You know God is good, but you're feeling like things are really scary right now. What then? Well, that's where courage comes in. The second place that you can build confidence is from courage. Now let's talk about what this looks like in a really practical way. The first time I was speaking as a professional speaker, I was scared out of my mind. I have told you guys this before. This was probably 10 years ago. I walked on my first stage as a paid professional speaker, feeling like the biggest imposter in the entire world. I don't even know how I got there. I was speaking to 1,000 high school students. Talk about a tough first crowd, okay? High school students. And I walked out there and I said, hey y'all, I'm so excited to be here. Bold face lie. I was not excited to be there. I was terrified to be there. Y'all, I was shaking in my shoes. I was sweating. I was nervous from head to toe, but I tried not to act like it. You know what I did? I just faked it. I faked feeling confident. I faked it until I could feel it. And after a few months of faking it at different speaking events where I faked being excited, faked feeling confident, even if I didn't feel confident, guess what? I actually started to feel confident. But it didn't happen because I'm some amazing public speaker that was just born with this confidence gene or this public speaking gene. It happened because I chose to be courageous. I just chose to walk on the stage despite my fear. I chose to do the thing that I was scared to do anyway, even though I was scared. I faked it until I felt it. And now, 10 years later, when I walk on any stage and I say, hey y'all, I'm so excited to be here, I mean it. That confidence is authentic now. I feel confident right where God has me. But that's not because there's something special about me that I have that you don't have, and it's not something that can't be duplicated in any situation. You don't have to wait until you're not scared to do the thing you want to do. You can do it while you're scared. When you act courageous, those acts of courage build confidence. But here's the thing. You can't just do it one time. If I just spoke one time 10 years ago, and I was courageous one time, and then I wanted to speak again next week, you know what would have happened if I haven't spoken in 10 years except that one time? Yes, I had that one win, but what would I tell myself? Oh, that was a fluke. That was an accident. God just rescued me in that moment. I could never do it again. I did it once. I survived. I can't do it again, right? That's why you don't have to be courageous just one time to build confidence. You have to do it over and over and over. That's where practice comes in. So after you find confidence from your faith and you find it from being courageous, you also want to find it by practicing. This is the third place that you build confidence from. You need to practice over and over and over again. When I was on the track team in high school, I remember my very first season as a runner on the track team, our coach would take us into the weight room about one day a week to lift weights. And I thought this was so weird because I was like, we're not like high school boy wrestlers that are trying to build all this muscle. We're runners. We're trying to get faster. Like, what's the point? And my coach taught me that as we lifted weights and stretched our muscles, we strengthened those muscles and those muscles could do more. Well, I started to notice week after week, my times around the track in the same events were getting faster and faster and faster. Not just from the running practice, but from strengthening those muscles. Confidence is a muscle. If you've never exercised this muscle, it's a little weak and wobbly at first. That's okay. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means you need to practice through exercise. You need to exercise that confidence muscle and then watch what happens. Because the more you exercise that muscle, the stronger that muscle becomes and the more you can do with it. Eventually, being confident, speaking up for yourself, trying new things, setting bigger goals, dreaming bigger dreams, all of those things come more and more naturally to you because that muscle is stronger. But it didn't happen by accident. It happened because you practiced over time. Y'all, these are 3 really simple, practical things you can do. Have faith, be courageous, and practice. You do those 3 things, I promise you, you will build real, authentic, unshakable confidence.